Hello everybody, my name is Connor and welcome back to another Boa game. We'll probably be playing Boa for a bit more, and I built Lucci, but part of me is thinking about going back to RP Law, so let me know your thoughts on that. And for as far as my thoughts on this game, my opponent ends up swinging massive into me, and I don't have counter. My hand is kind of bricked. So I have to take this first double attack, which really scares me. And then I top deck another 10-drop Kaido, and I'm like, oh god, this is rough. Like, I need counter in this matchup. But we do have the 3-cost Dofi. So at least I can try and heal and recover with that. I swing 6 at lead, and my opponent goes ahead and takes it. I tap 3 for the Doflamingo, and yeah, I go ahead and sort the top 5 of my life, and I'm actually pretty excited to see the 0-cost event as well as another blocker Dofi, and honestly, and Red Rock, very, very solid in my eyes, so... just kind of adjusting those depending on where they go, and I pass turn, and yeah, I still don't have a ton of counter in my hand, but at least I have the blocker, so I'm not going down to 1 life on, what is that, turn 2, if he decides to swing it big again. And he actually does decide to swing another 8 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, quick math. And I'm thinking about countering out, but I have enough counter to maybe counter out, but my opponent plays down the Hiyori, the 2-cost Hiyori, looking at the top of their life to put something in the top of their life. And wow, we top deck blocker Dofi. That's so crazy. I had no idea. So I am trying to... I'm definitely worried about a trigger such as like an Onami to pop just about anything I play, really, except the Boa. And so I decide to just try and swing 8 right back at him to see what he does, see if he counters out, see how important that card is he placed up top. But he ends up just taking it, so I tap 3 and play out the Doflamingo blocker. And we basically know what's up top, but we end up seeing a Jinbei, which is so exciting. I feel so good. I have 2 Weevils in my hand, and one of my favorite plays is the Jinbei into Weevil. It's just so satisfying. And yeah, this deck only runs 2 Weevils, so having both in my hand is a little bit rough, honestly. But yeah, now we get to see what my opponent wants to do, and hopefully play a little less defensively from here on out. I'd really like to play... I like playing this deck pretty aggressively. It would be the most fun deck if I had a rusher that wasn't... If Blue had a rusher that wasn't Usopp. But, you know, that's not Blue's thing, so I get it. So he ends up swinging 7. And I do have the counter, so I do decide to counter out just to save my Dofi, just in case something scarier comes along. When he goes 7, he taps 4 to play out the Hiyori, and then he plays You Could Be My Samurai, tapping both Hiyoris and drawing 2 cards. And then Hiyori effect, playing down the Momonosuke, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a lot of drawing going on, so he asked if he drew for Hiyori ability, and I said no, just for Samurai. Lots of drawing, and my angle's a little bad, but that fat stack that he's holding right there is his hand. So, granted, I also have quite a big hand, which is a little unfortunate when playing Boa, but I haven't really had the option to like get rid of cards. Like, look at the middle of my hand; it's all non-counter, so my thought here was I knew I was gonna play Jinbei into Weevil, and I thought I have 4 more Dawn after that, and I thought about potentially playing the Gecko to get a 2k back from trash, or but here I end up top decking the 0 cost event with the Weevil, and I'm like, okay, I feel okay on counter. I have a blocker, I have a 0 cost, I have a 1k. I think I want to play another Weevil and potentially get more counter and just kind of pass turn. So I end up playing another Weevil, drawing, and we get a 2k, and I end up passing turn, not really taking any aggression there, just kind of slowing the game down a little bit. I feel like this game's been going pretty fast. So he is at, if I'm not mistaken, 9 Dawn. Yeah, 9 Dawn. We are getting to the big part of the game here. He ends up tapping 1, playing the Searcher Otama, searching out what I believe is the alt art of the double attack banish Yamato, or one of the alt arts, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but we'll see. So he's sorting out his Dawn, trying to figure out how to maximize that Dawn. I don't blame him there. My board is looking pretty good. Shout out to the alt art Jinbei. Beautiful card. I love the alt arts in this deck, for the record, if anybody wants to know. The alt art blue cards in this set are so good. I'm trying to find 2 more of those 4 cost laws and 2 more Jinbeis, but my opponent swings 8 at lead, and I could 0 cost event and trash a Kaido, or 2k and 1k, but I end up just deciding to block with Dofi. I think that he's been on the board long enough, and I feel like this is a good opportunity. And then he drops the other double attack banish Yamato, and I'm like, I have to deal with that. Thankfully, I've been sitting on a gravity blade this whole game basically, and so I'm like, perfect, I can get rid of the blocker and the scary Yamato. Unfortunately, I won't get the Boa ability. I have too many cards in hand, but I, get rid of 2 threats. A blocker I have to get over, and a scary double attack banish Yamato in a game where I've been struggling to find counter. So, I end up just poking with 5 just to, try and get some cards out of his hand, and he 2Ks out. And I'm trying to think about how to do the math, and I think the math is the hardest part of this game for me. So I end up poking 5 with lead, and I figure I'd go 7 and 8. So that's kind of what my thoughts are. 5, 5, 7, 8, I think would be a pretty solid way to do it. He gives me a 1k counter. I end up swinging 7 with Weevil, and he takes. And then I swing 8 with Weevil, and he also takes. So, pretty big hand. I haven't seen pudding yet, but he wasn't able to counter out of the 7 and the 8k swing that I did. So, he might be... I'm starting to wonder if he is almost as bricked as I am. I think thankfully in my case, I have played out most of my cards that have no counters. So, at least there's that. But he ends up tapping 10 to drop the Dofi, which I did not expect. He swings 5 at lane, and I 2k out with Croc. And we top deck the Red Rock. I forgot that Red Rock was placed there, and I was so happy. I was like, I know exactly what is happening to that Dofi. My board is all frozen. The only thing that can swing is Boa. But I can't let Dofi stay on the field. He is too scary. So I Red Rock the Dofi, sending him to the bottom of the deck. And I think I end up, since I'm getting kind of low on counter, I am going to drop the Gecko, if I'm not mistaken. And, yeah, I just put 5 at life just to get a card out of hand. And then I'm going to drop Gecko and get back one of the 2Ks. just because that's basically what I have Gecko in the deck to do, is get back 2Ks. I don't feel like he's as valuable in my personal thought process. I don't feel like he's as valuable in Boa as he is in Dofi, and I think it's just because you can set him up on Dofi ability and get that body and that 2K back for cheap, if not almost free. But I have 4 cards or 5 cards in hand I can count, so I definitely want to try and remove characters so I can gain Boa ability, or even I'm thinking about dropping 10 Dofi next turn, or 10 Dofi. No, my 10 Kaido. He dropped 10 Dofi. I'm thinking about dropping 10 Kaido, just because it would get me a lot more cards in hand, hopefully some more counter. He plays out the Hiyori, changes what his life is, and I'm kind of assuming that it's a 0-cost event or something along those lines. And then he drops the Momonosuke, or not the Momonosuke, the Hiyori, to play out the Momonosuke. He pops Otama into life, draws for the Hiyori ability, and he's sitting with 4 Dawn and trying to figure out what he wants to do. I'm really hoping he doesn't want to swing into life, because I don't want to go, or swing 9 into life, because I could counter out of it, but I would rather not. He swings 5 with lead, and I just go ahead and give him the 2K Mihawk. He taps 4, taps 4, plays out the Kikinojo, which definitely was a little worrying, but we do get the Dofi blocker, so I'm thinking about potentially, I'm trying to decide between dropping the Dofi blocker and then just spreading the rest of my Dawn out, or going for Kaido. I swing 5 at his life just to see what to do. He ends up countering out with that Yamato he searched earlier. I go 5 with Gecko, and he blocks with Momonosuke. I go 5 with my leader Boa, just draining cards out of his hand at this point. I know you guys can't see his hand, sorry about that. It is always a little more difficult at this shop to set up a good angle. I go 6. I think I end up going 6 into life. He takes it, and I go 6 into, I want to say I go 6 into Momonosuke, but no, I go 6 into life. He gets the Kikinojo, and I end up just tapping 10 and dropping Kaido, drawing the 4 just so I can have hopefully some more counter, and I get a little more counter. I don't get like a ton. I get 3 1Ks and a counterless, but the Boa is nice. So my opponent is at 0 life right now. I'm definitely applying a lot of pressure with the way that his board is stated, and the way my board is looking. I do have 3 life still, and I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I'm thinking I got game next turn. But he ends up tapping. He taps 8, and he drops the kid, and I'm like, oh man. I think at this point he only had, he didn't have as big of a hand size as he did at one point. Like I've done a pretty decent job of dwindling his hands down, but he initially thinks he wants the Yamato ability onto Kid, and then decides to Yamato ability onto the Kikinojo, and I don't know what it is, but he swings at me, and I'm looking at my hand, and I'm looking at that Kid, and I'm like, my top life is Red Rock, and it is Red Rock. I had the counter to counter out of that swing, and I just something in my gut told me that it was Red Rock. And so I took it, and it was actually Red Rock. So, heart of the cards, baby. But he puts 1 Dawn under Kid, and then drops the Otama Search. And is looking for something spicy. He ends up getting the Hiyori, and he's got 1 Dawn up, and he's got 2 more swings. He swings 6 with lead, and I give him a 2k out of it. Another 6 with lead, or actually 6 at Gecko, and I decided to 2k out of that as well, just to make sure I keep my pressure on. And yeah, I'm just so happy that my gut was right and I got the Red Rock. I think this game I got so lucky with my Red Rock timings. So I Red Rock the kid, no Boa effect because I am at maximum Dawn, and I forgot to stand my board up because I was so excited about getting Red Rock. So I swing 5, just figured I'd swing low with some of my smaller characters. I swing 12, like, oh, I got this, and then I forgot he had a blocker, so I swing 6 with Weevil, and that is the game. So, yeah, really happy with that Red Rock timing. Heart of the Cards really playing off there, Yugi boy. But yeah, that is this game, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.